Michael, appreciate you joining. How you doing?
Of course, I'm great. How about you?
I'm doing very well. I saw something, you speaking of something that I found very fascinating, because you know we have the whole Jeffrey Epstein coming up, and now all of a sudden Donald Trump is like, I don't want to talk about Jeffrey Epstein. I don't know who he is. Why are you guys asking me questions about it?
I don't know who he is.
In many ways ran on this. You are saying that there have been talks that Donald Trump actually wanted to have conversations or had conversations about possibly pardoning Ghislaine Maxwell?
Yeah.
Well, let me clarify. I know of a conversation in which, and this was at the moment of her conviction, shortly after, and he said, "What do you think she can say?" And then the aides around him said, they didn't know, and they didn't want to go there because this is a no-go subject area. And then he said, should I pardon her? And equally, nobody
said anything.
Wants him to pardon her, and nobody really wants to go there. So the conversation passed. That's what I know.
So then, okay.
Look at you.
I think I kind of remember that.
Your blood pressure in check, and now
Hold
you have
on.
Super Beats Heart Chews by Human.
So then, okay.
He said, "What could she say?"
No-go conversation.
Among the subjects that everybody knows that are problematic for Trump is Epstein. So once when I went to interview Epstein, this was in when I went down to Mar-a-Lago, and the aides say, they ask you for a sort of broad outline of what you want to talk about. And I probably had 10 subjects, among them Jeffrey Epstein. And the one Trump aide said, listen, if you bring up Epstein, he will stop the interview. So this person said, my advice is, if you want to speak to him, if you want this interview to go on, don't bring this up. And in fact, I did not bring it up, and we spoke for, several hours.
Why?
Well, and I have always, I think the question is the broader question is, how come Jeffrey Epstein has not been pinned on Donald Trump? Jeffrey Epstein has been pinned on a lot of people who have suffered for their acquaintance with him. Donald Trump's acquaintance was much broader and deeper than anyone else's. They were friends for more than a decade, and not just friends, but joined at the hip friends. Best friends. They hunted women together, hunt being the right word, for about a year. They
like booty buddy friends?
Back and forth.
Like booty buddy friends?
Constantly on each other's planes. They gave each other business advice. They were extraordinarily close. And then ultimately they fell out in 2004 over a real estate deal. But somehow Trump, as he avoids accountability for virtually everything, has avoided this. He's avoided being pinned as one of the central relationships in the life of Jeffrey Epstein.
Do you think obviously I guess he's told people, I don't want to talk about this in interviews. So if he doesn't want to talk about it in interviews, I'm wondering why he brings it up in private. But do you understand what I'm saying? People would, this is what someone would surmise, is that if they were friends for as long as you said that they were. I didn't know that Jeffrey Epstein, am I correct, said that Donald Trump was his best friend? Or one of his best friends?
Yes.
Yeah, correct. Then one, he's afraid to talk about it. And then two, why would he want to pardon Ghislaine?
Well, as we know, he hasn't pardoned her, but I think at the moment that came up. A broader context, Donald Trump views his pardon authority as absolute. I can pardon anyone, anytime. So this is Ghislaine Maxwell is not the only person he has